Hello, everyone, and welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. And we have a jam-packed video with two absolutely insane decks, along with two decks that are also absolutely great. But these two decks that we're going to look at as the first two in this video are just like tier 1 top 10 decks, like absolute top of the meta stuff. In addition, we're also going to be doing one of our giveaways. So we've got an Iron Patriot winner later this video. We've got our last chance review of Bullseye and so much more. We're going to kick this off, however, by letting you know that you can get around 700 free credits every single week by visiting marvelsnap.com. This is brand frickin' new. Second Dinner is really stepping their game up as far as taking care of the community. And the way they're doing this is, or one of the ways they're doing this is that on marvelsnap.com every single day, in the web shop, you can now go play the Galactus roulette thing. There's been a Galactus roulette thing that you could do once a week prior. Well, now it is every day. It resets at daily reset daily, while also giving you credits, borders, premium mystery variants. This used to have things like boosters in it. It used to have kind of crappy rewards and terrible rates. Well, now you've got a 40% chance of 100 credits, a 25% chance of 200 credits, and a lower chance of the other stuff, 10 to 15%, but still not bad. You should be getting about 5 to 700 credits extra a week from this. That's amazing. That's a top end weekly mission just for logging into marvelsnap.com. And once you're logged in, you just stay logged in, click it once a day, and you just get free stuff. That's fantastic. Props to Second Dinner for coming up with this. They're also giving us absolutely insane, crazy value. Everyone is super thrilled about it for the lack of, let's just call it the TikTok ban, shall we? For the shenanigans and the nonsense with the TikTok ban. And they are working on getting it back in the web shop. But once they get it back in every shop, they will then have this week be giving us absolutely crazy rewards. I covered that in yesterday's video, but I had a conversation with our friend Lauren Whatevs about this. Lauren Whatevs is the queen of Marvel Snap Math, and I've been telling people for years now to consider Marvel Snap a subscription model, that the season pass is this utterly amazing value. And as everyone's going crazy about this, these rewards they're getting, right? Everyone's going completely crazy over these rewards we're getting for the downtime. I was like, well, how does that match up to the season pass? Because honestly, it doesn't look that dissimilar. It's hundreds of dollars of value, right? Everyone's going crazy because Marvel Snap is giving us free $100 of value. Turns out the season pass is so almost as good. This is the free stuff they're giving us is 1.5 times value of a season pass. That's amazing, right? When you think of it that way, it gives us like a framework for just how good a deal the season pass is. Yes, free is infinitely better than $9.99, but for $10, you still get that over $100 value. You are basically getting like 10 times value on what you're spending. That's crazy. That's absurd. So that is what we're talking about when we talk about Marvel Snap's season pass being so great, but also the generosity of the season pass and the generosity of this give back for the downtime. And now the web shop. Second Dinner is seemingly really stepping their game up, and I'm really excited and hopeful for this to continue. We're going to now talk about the Renaissance from our friend Cougar, a top 10 player on the Infinite leaderboard. So Cougar has come up with this Annihilus list that he's using to climb. He had fallen down to the teens, and now he's back in the top 10 with this list. This list is absolutely awesome. We were talking about on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, maybe last week, time is a little lost here, using for Sentry after Sentry's recent buff, using the new Spider-Man and Viper to guarantee being able to send over a Void. If you can guarantee to be able to send over a Void, you're probably winning that lane, right? You just had a 12 power swing in that lane. If you had two Spider-Man, they were going to clog anyway. Now they're clogged, and you basically guaranteed yourself a win with Cannonball. Absolutely stellar power. You also have the extra ability of Scream to gain extra power in this circumstance. Phenomenal idea, phenomenal deck. This deck needs Scream, Annihilus, Kate Bishop, and Cannonball. So if you have those 4 cards, feel free to play that. Nebula can be Titania or Kingpin. I genuinely want to say that this deck is stellar, and if you have access to it, you should be looking for it. This is up to rank 7 in the world, coming from the teens, climbing at a really rough time to do so. Turn 1, you want Nebula over Hood. Hood is totally fine, but you're using Nebula to sort of get your opponent to play where you want them to. Turn 2, you want Scream over Kate. Scream is obviously still one of the better cards in the game. If your opponent drops Luke Cage, hopefully they don't drop it on 3, and you should still be able to get an extra few power on Kate. If you can still get an extra few power on Scream. If you can get an extra 2 triggers on her, she's still 6 power. 2/6 is great stats. If they don't have Luke Cage, you just play it at 210. Turn 3, Polaris, and again, your goal is to try and get them fairly clogged, or you can do a 2+1. Turn 4, Sentry. Sentry is your priority. If you have Sentry and either Annie or Spidey and Viper, that is your snap condition. So you want Sentry, or you use Stegron, again, to try and clog. And remember, we're trying to clog the right lane or the mid lane because Stegron does not let you functionally clog the left lane, so keep that in mind. Turn 5, you want Annie or Spidey and Viper. Nice and simple, right? You play Annie if you don't think they're going to be able to fill the locations, or if you have both Hood and the Void. You play Spidey and Viper if they're in the right lane, and let's say they've clogged it to sort of lock that Void on your side. You play Spidey. Spidey pulls out a card. Viper pushes them that Void. Now they are still clogged, and Cannonball guarantees you a win. Cannonball at that point, I mean, doesn't guarantee, I guess, but all but guarantees you a win. It's almost impossible to lose from that position. It's incredible, especially if you have Scream out, because now that Spidey is also going to represent, in addition to giving them, taking -9 off your side, giving them -9, playing 2 4-power cards, so 8 power worth of cards. You're also going to take 2 power off one of their cards and give 2 power to your Scream. Absolutely awesome. Then turn 6, Cannonball and Demon, and if you don't have the full lockdown, you can use Juggernaut to steal a lane and then use Demon and Spidey to mess with the opponent. Cool. Next up, we're going to go with the deck I absolutely cannot believe works, but made it, and but is unbelievable at Marvel Snap. One last look at the Renaissance. Again, any other day, this would be a #1 deck in one of these videos. I want to make sure I get this into your hands as soon as possible. If you are looking to climb Marvel Snap and have access to these cards, please play it. I feel like even though this has got a couple expensive cards, if you've been playing a while, Scream was a must-have card and Nihilus and Cannonball were must-have cards. So I feel like it's reasonably likely that people are going to be able to get into this just because if you've been playing long enough, these are cards you picked up as they were meta. Speaking of picking up meta things, if you want to pick up all the meta decks in Marvel Snap, please hit that sub button, as we have just hit 17,000 subscribers on this channel. We are aiming for 25,000 subscribers in 2025, and in return, we will not only do the best giveaways in Marvel Snap, but we will be also giving you at least 7 days a week of Marvel Snap videos, 6 to 7 days a week of Marvel Snap streams, 6 to 7 days of articles on Marvel Snap Zone. Hit that sub button, hit that like, hit that comment. It helps us out so much, and in return, you will get the best and most consistent Marvel Snap content. We are giving away an Iron Patriot this week. We have a winner to announce for Iron Patriot from last week later this video. All you have to do is hit sub and like. Later this video, I'm going to ask you to leave a comment. When you make that comment, you are entered to an Iron Patriot. Also worth noting, Iron Patriot this month, if you are completing portions of your season pass, comes with a free dock-in, so you've got a Series 5 and a Series 4 card. So you really, really want this deal. Finally, our Snap Judgments League kicks off today. If you're watching this in the morning, make sure you check out our Patreon and Discord. You can still probably get in if you are interested. We had a whole bunch of signups last minute yesterday. All right, so Butts Guardians of Galactus. Oh my goodness, this deck. I went on last night, late at night, and I lost a bunch of cubes. I kept playing Butt, and he kept finding ways to roll me with this deck. This deck is so good. Butt is a top 5 player. He's won 2 Snap Judgments Leagues. He's unbelievable, and this deck is stupid good. This is the best Jean Grey has ever felt. This is completely obnoxious for Galactus right now. I kept losing to Galactus knowing Galactus was coming, and there was nothing I could do about it. I just had to run. Absolutely stellar. So this deck needs Galacta, Galactus, and Hope. Those are your 3 big cards. Rocket and Groot can be Polaris. You're using Polaris to try and basically pull things off that gene to mess with them when possible. Ghost Spider can be Aranya or Nebula. Aranya works similarly. Ghost Spider, Nebula is just great. And Iron Patriot can be Cable. Iron Patriot is great though. So what you're using Iron Patriot for here is what you would use Nebula for in a lot of other decks. What you're using Rock and Groove for is you're trying to control where your opponent plays. Because if you can control where your opponent plays, what you end up being able to do, and Daredevil is really helpful for this, is what you end up being able to do is you end up being able to go Hope, Galacta, Galactus. Wild. All right, let's talk about what we want to do here. So first, Rocket and Groot is just incredible power at the end of the game. A 1/5 at the end of the game is stellar. You get to play it. You get a ton of power. It's really simple at the end of the game to know where people are going to do things. Also, you very rarely want to Gamora on turn 5. So being able to play a Rocket and Groot along with a card like like Groot or like Rocket and Groot, it ends up working out really well. It's so weird to talk about Rocket and Groot with Groot and Rocket and Groot, right? It feels awkward. But you get all that extra power by being able to do that. Ghost Spider has several uses, but my favorite and main use for Ghost Spider is when you need to fill up that gene lane at the end of the game. You can fill up that gene lane knowing the opponent has to play there with a Gamora, but you can Ghost Spider off that lane, right? Or Gamora or whatever else. You can Ghost Spider that card off that lane in order to steal a victory. Absolutely stellar power. You can also end up like feeding a card into a lane that you might want to later Galactus, and you can spend a turn 4, part of your turn 4, using Ghost Spider to pull that out of the way. Star-Lord is another Guardian. It works very similar to Rocket. Your general Star-Lord turn is going to be turn 5 if you can't get that Galactus going. If you cannot get that Galactus going, Star-Lord says, fundamentally, especially if you have Daredevil or Iron Patriot, I'm going to play a 2/6 there, and we just talked about how strong 2/6s were on the last deck, right? You can play a 2/6 and then a 3/7, or a 2/6 and Rocket and Groot, or you can play it on Hope Summers and then have extra energy on the last turn, so you can go Rocket and Groot, Ghost Spider, and Gamora. Things like that just allow this deck to really sing. Daredevil is here as part of your core concept, your core of the deck. And remember, the core of the deck is to go Hope into Galacta. You play whatever card, right? You go Hope into Galacta into Galactus. You now have a 9-power Galactus, which is fairly likely to win a lane. After that, you're going to drop a Gamora and Rocket type card, and then you're just going to go over the top of the opponent. Nothing they can do about it, right? Daredevil lets you know if you're going to do that or another plan. It also, when you don't have that game plan, lets you know where to play your Rocket and Groot, Rocket, Star-Lord, etc., etc. Iron Patriot is great. It not only controls where your opponent plays, you're fairly likely to win that lane because you have Rocket and Groot, you have Star-Lord, you have Groot, you get the idea. You have all these cards that let you win that Iron Patriot lane, and it gives you just a cheap, powerful thing. Cheap, powerful things are good. That's basically the entire concept of Iron Patriot. And again, your opponent usually contests that lane, which gives you a lot of extra power. Next up, we've got Groot. Groot's a 3/7 in this list. 3/7's a lot of stats. You run it. Rocket and Groot does the same thing, except Rocket and Groot has extra value, and that extra value is A, being able to get on and off the Hope Summers and Jean Grey lane as necessary, and B, being able to like make it look like you're not going to Galactus, and then you do Galactus, and your opponent is screwed. So you have those two uses for Rocket and Groot, which are great. Hope is here because A, extra energy is useful, and B, she gives you that Galactus gameplay, which is incredible. This is about as good as Jean Grey has ever been, thanks to using cards like Ghost Spider and all the Guardians is stellar here. And it helps control lane. If you can fill a lane with Jean Grey, you can very often get a Galactus. If on turn 6, you know they have to fill that Jean lane, you can very often get that Galactus off and win the game. Galacta is extra power. She's one of the best cards in Marvel Snap. It's great to see Galacta and Galactus together. They work amazingly together in this list. But if you give +3 to the +4 all the Guardians get, you are really, really singing. If you are adding +7 to all of these cards, they are all of a sudden game-winningly, brokenly great. Galacta's incredible. These cards work stellar together. Meanwhile, Gamora is your big thing. She's how you win the Galactus lane. And if you can't win the Galactus lane with Gamora, you can still use her as just the biggest regular 5 around in order to win lanes. She's awesome here. That's this list. So this is rank 4. Turn 1, you want to pass. Turn 2, Iron Patriot or Daredevil. Turn 3, Hope or Jean. Turn 4, Galactus better than 2 + 2 is better than a 3. Turn 5, Galactus if Galacton Jean. Or you can play a Jean and a 2 if that fills one of your lanes if you have a different empty lane, because what that ultimately does is gives you a free lane to Galactus. Turn 6, you want Gamora and either Ghost Spider Rocket, or if you had Jean, some combination thereof, maybe Gamora and whatchamacallit is fine too. Gamora and Star-Lord. Cool. This list is amazing. It absolutely smoked me. Play it if you're as early as you're watching this. If you can play it because once people know about this, I don't think it's going to be as effective, but for now, this is it. This is where it's at. Please check out one of my Twitch streams. I should be streaming at some point tonight. I'm not sure exactly when, but I'm planning on doing a nice hour stream, either at I take my son to swimming today. So probably around 8:30 to 9, I should be streaming tonight. So if you're interested in checking it out, check out twitch.tv/PulseGlazer. I also stream here on YouTube, but there's music and check-ins and stuff on Twitch, so it makes it a little cooler. So my season pass question is for those of you who watch streams, although it's for anyone you can answer. What is your favorite thing to watch me stream? I've only done a little bit of the last one, but what would you be interested in? You can say more than one if you'd like to. A tier list. I've done a couple tier lists on stream. Do you just like when I play Snap gameplay? Gameplay tends to be most popular. Making Snap judgments, calling tournament games, making Series 3 decks. What do you enjoy the most? Or what would make you most likely to tune in if you haven't? So our winner for the season pass is Mint Prozac. Congratulations. Really great answer, by the way, on the how to start the Terry Pratchett stuff. Our last chance review of Bullseye. All right. Bullseye really has one deck. If you want that deck, you should get Bullseye. That deck is right around tier 1, if not fully tier 1. Everyone focused when Bullseye came out on the -2 power, the Affliction. Turns out that that's nice, but the real power is just having the second on-demand discard trigger that, along with MODOK, allows your cards to go crazy. It allows Meek, Morbius, and Collector to be absolutely huge. It allows Dakin to finally be a real card. Bullseye is an absolutely amazing enabler. If those are cards you have, want to make good, you can get this. You need MODOK, you need Dakin-ish. You can probably do without Dakin. You need MODOK, and you need to want to play that list. It's not really, we have another list for it. It's not really a multi-list card. It goes in Classic Discard. That's what we're going to look at next, right? There's a version of Classic Discard that has it. That version isn't as good as Dracula Discard. Straight up, I think it's a little bit worse. Not like a lot worse, but a little bit worse than straight up Dracula Discard. So you can play a slightly worse regular discard or the like really meta new discard that Bullseye is in. If you want to play that list, you need the card. I still think it is the worst card so far this month, which is crazy, right? Victoria Hand is an S tier card, Moonstone is an A tier card that's going to keep getting better, and Iron Patriot is the best 2-drop in the game. I think Bullseye is worse than all of those, but this is still a great card. This is a high B level card, maybe even low A, depending on how that deck ages. Very impressive. It's easy to see this getting pushed out of the meta in time, though, but for the time being, it puts up so much power when it works. If you get a couple of your scalers, Bullseye and MODOK, if your opponent does not interact outside of move bounce, you basically win. So he's powerful. He's a buy-ish if you want this deck. Our deck for today, our final Bullseye deck of Bullseye Week, is going to be this one from Safety Blade. Safety put it in a classic discard shell and cut, of all cards, Dracula. The logic here is fairly simple. What you're trying to do here is you want your end game play to be a big, you want to play MODOK on 5, and you want your end game play to be Apocalypse with a bunch of swarms, and you just want to win that way. That's what this list is fundamentally trying to do. It's got some extra tools and extra stuff to grow. If you can make a big Meek, a big Morbius, and drop a big Apocalypse, you're probably going to win the game. That's the entire logic. It can get tricky here, but when it works, oh boy, does it work. You can find Safety, who's a brilliant, brilliant deck builder and player, probably along with Ika, one of the 2 most featured players here on this channel, at twitch.tv/SafetyBlade. So there's 2 other similar popular versions of Classic Discard that we're going to look at instead of doing replacements here, and we're going to do what the most successful Bullseye shell is. We've covered all 3 of these lists in the past. So first we have the Dracula discard list. This is the one that runs Malekith and Scorn. This has long been my preferred discard list. I think I actually popularized this version. I didn't make it, I found it, but I ended up ultimately popularizing this after Malekith came out. I love this deck. It's one of the oldest decks I still have in Marvel Snap with Bounce. I'm able to win with it out of situations it does not seem like I should be. I think this is great. I think it's better than the deck we're talking about today, but again, it is closer than it looks like. The other version is the Fenris Wolf version. The Fenris Wolf version is straight up another version of the list that's trying to take advantage of your opponent discarding stuff or being able to Gambit or Moon Knight off stuff with Fenris Wolf. I found this version's a little less consistent. It's harder to time Fenris Wolf for me than the other cards, but this list is also very, very good and has been in and out of the meta. Like when they buffed Hela and all of a sudden discard was everywhere, this was the version to play. Now, you can go either way. And then finally, the Alex Kochia Bullseye, and it turns out that in this list, long term, it has Grandmaster has been better than Collector. I think they're brothers, which is fun for me. But Grandmaster has been better than Collector, but the best Bullseye list has been this one. So this is the list you're looking to play if you buy Bullseye. It means you need Dakin and you probably want Frigga, and you 1000% need MODOK. So if you have those cards, you can play this list. You actually don't need Scorn. Meek is amazing, but you actually don't need Scorn. You're fine skipping Scorn. So this is the list you're looking at if you really want Bullseye. Okay, back to the safety list. Let's reorient ourselves with the safety list. I just wanted to make sure that you are well informed about Bullseye and what you're getting when you buy him, if you buy him. Back to the safety list that we're covering right now. So, turn one, you want Blade if Swarm. Blading Swarm, getting rid a Swarm activate is super important because otherwise it doesn't work with Bullseye. Meek can be Meek is your other play, and you can also Blade if Apocalypse, but I'd rather drop Meek. Turn two, you want Morbius. Although I will play Colleen or I will play Blade if Swarm over it, and you cannot Colleen Swarm if Morbius is in hand. Play Morbius, and then you can try and Colleen. Turn three, Moon Knight if Swarm is your only target. That's why Dracula's not on the list, by the way. Over Bullseye, over Dakin. Getting Bullseye out on 3 or 4 is huge here. You also want to get Dakin out, right? So it gets a little complicated, but you'll be fine. So turn 4 is 3 or 2 twos. Again, you want to get Bullseye and Dakin out before Morlocking on 5. But if you played a Blade for a Swarm and you got to play Morbius and Colleen now, you want to play Morbius and Colleen now and just be fine. Turn 5, you want MODOK or Bullseye into 2. If you play MODOK and you can just trigger Bullseye, you should do that because that's going to give you a lot of Swarms. Turn 6, play Apocalypse and Swarms. That's it. You can also end up playing MODOK on turn on turn 6 and triggering Bullseye. That works out pretty damn well too. Meek and Morbius both end up lane winners. Dakin is not a lane winner in this, but he's very strong. And Gambit takes out a key card of theirs fairly freaking often, way more than it feels like he should. Props to Safety for coming up with the best version of the classic discard using the Great Bullseye. If you'd like to see gameplay from all these decks, check out the stream team. Today is Gregor2424 stream, so make sure you check out Gregor. He's doing a big giveaway. I don't actually remember when it is, but I'm giving away 3 gold passes on his stream, so if you're looking for that, please go check out Gregor. Ask him. It might be today at 12 p.m. Eastern that he's doing that giveaway. It might be another day, but go find out from our friend Gregor. Oh Behave should have a video out on YouTube later this week with yesterday's decks. Nina is Patriot. This is from our friend Nina is Noob. Hi, Nina. Hopefully you're doing well. So Nina is Noob created this really cool sort of mid-range shell that I think works very well. People kept sending this to me and being like, Nina cooked, Nina cooked. Turns out Nina cooked. This is a very good shell, sort of a mishmash of different good cards, but it works out way better than it looks. You can find Nina at youtube.com/Nina is Noob. She's amazing. Sorry, at Nina is Noob. This deck needs Zabu and Galactus. Those are the only high series cards you need. Hydra Bob can be Iceman or Nightcrawler. Iron Patriot and Kate. Cable, Mirage, Penny Parker. Red Guardian can be Rogue. Copycat can be Juggernaut or Sage. And Gladiator is the biggest 3 you have. Raccoon, Groot, Polaris, whatever. So again, Nina cooked here. Turn 1, you want Zabu over Bob. Turn 2, you want Iron Patriot over Kate. Turn 3, Galactus is your goal, but you'll happily play Gladiator to win your Iron Patriot lane, or you can drop Negasonic. You can also, if you went Kate, go Arrow and Iron Patriot on 3. Turn 4, you want Galacta over Captain Marvel over 2/2. Turn 5, Negasonic and a 1. You can also play Captain Marvel and Bob here. Captain Marvel getting buffed by Galacta is huge. Turn 6, Shang, Captain Marvel, Copycat with Shadow King, and then you win. That's it. This is a control list, right? It's a very powerful control list. It wants to take prio early and then sort of give it up in the mid-range late by sort of stacking one lane and then win using Shang or Shadow King in one of those other lanes. Really cool list. Very cool cook. Really strong into the meta. Answers a lot of stuff. Shadow King is severely underrated right now, especially if you're really sick of losing to those Dakin lists. Unless they stack a Dakin and Morbius in a lane, and then it's pretty easy to win another. You can basically Shadow King off their Dakin, Shadow King off their Collector, or whatever, and that's very powerful. Well, Red Guardian takes out another threat. Great deck. Go play it. Go forth. Win. Questions of the day. Our first is from DriveStart, who asks what bad card I'd most like to be good, and the answer is actually Adam Warlock. So, for a fairly strange reason, I think Adam Warlock was one of my favorite Marvel characters as a kid. One of my first comic runs that I was able to buy on my own was the Infinity Gauntlet, and then I eventually got Infinity War, and I read Warlock and the Infinity Watch for a long time. Outside of Gauntlet, I don't think any of that really holds up, but Adam Warlock has always had a warm place in my heart because of that. So he is the bad card I'd most like to be good. Also, honorable mention to Cyclops, another one of my favorite characters in Marvel, who I'd really like them to not just make a not just update the 3-4 Cyclops. I want a new Cyclops the way they did a Symbiote Spider-Man. I don't know how they do that, but I want it. All right. Kev asks, as a content creator, how do I find motivation to play through lulls when I just don't want to play? I mean, dailies. When I don't want to play, I do dailies. When I don't want to play and it's time to stream, I build decks, I do tier lists, I do other stuff. Some dailies don't tend to take me very long. I can just pull a deck, knock out dailies, and not worry about my rank. And usually I can do it in a few enough games that it's not really a concern. And then I come back to it. I don't need to play every day for my type of content. I hit top 100 last season just to sort of prove I could. I'm actually ranked around 200 this season, largely because I had a really bad run earlier today. But I don't actually give that much of a shit about my rank at this point. I know I'm good enough to compete with the top players of Snap. Half my games are against like the Butts and the KM Bet. Like yesterday, I got on at night and I went Husky Puppies into Butt into KM Best, and then I played Butt again. So like I'm just saying, I'm good enough to compete at the top levels. I didn't win those games, although I should have. I was really tired and shouldn't have played. You get the idea. Whatever. Who cares? Um, I'm good enough at this point to know that like my rank is fine. I'm gonna hit infinite every season. Who cares? So at that point, what I'm trying to do is test things and I don't have to worry about it. And if I'm just not in the mood to, I'll just do dailies and trust the network of people I've got about great decks. That butt deck today, do I need to test the number 4 ranked deck? Number 4 ranked player's deck? Do I need to test the Cougar number 7 ranked player's deck? If they're climbing with it at high infinite, I know what that means. I know how hard that is. That's a real deck, I promise. So I don't have to test that. I just have to finish my dailies if I'm not in the mood. So I do that and then I move on. Hopefully that makes sense and is a way that you're able to engage with the game too. I think I've missed one daily in the 2 years I played, maybe two. Certain tiers of support on our Patreon come with honor. Thanks. I'm going to say thank you to Abigail Giesland, Mandatory Burnout, It Regardless, David G. Wingfield, Dirty Casual, Always Kind, LAB, Fawthorn Newman, Inc. I am Frostman. Thanks for hanging out with me all day, Frostman. Hota Navarrete, YOLO Potato. Let me know if you didn't get an Alliance Potato. Thinking Poker of the Thinking Poker podcast. Primed Ryan, who's sponsoring this season of Snap Judgment League. Please go check out the Primed Mind app. Ryan Burke, Burkev, Ryan Wood, Woody. Caretix Lee, the King of Questions, Koirei, coming all the way from Japan, Kazushi, hey Kazushi, Archangel 3K, it's all the K's in a row, Black Dahlia, welcome back, I spelled your name funky here apparently, I'll fix that, thank you for joining us at Black Dahlia, Pyro Fro, sup Pyro, the Goat Seeker, Goatsy, Hallowed, Only Fox, and Synth, I moved, Only Fox over to this area because I ended up having some more real names for Real Name Town. But thank you, Only Fox. Synth, Quid Pro Joe, Snapchat Sisters Joe, Rat Nick, Mr. Kerfuffle. What's up, Kerfuff? Thanks for hanging. Cables, Ginger Prime, Hi Ginge, Philip Ratkovich, who does all the wonderful shorts you see. Haplo, what's happening? Kenny Loggins of the Danger Zone, Middle Road Pride, Rob Silverman, The Bizza, Notoriously here with Black Jeebus 23, Extra C and Skippy G, Rhyming Friends, Jessica Gamble, what's up, Jess? Slush Death, the winner of Smash Bros. League Season 1, the King of Bros, Bro, the Great Kazoo, Werewolf, who hung out with me again, thanks Werewolf, Kev C. Hoda, who I believe was the Kev that asked that question, Luna Chris, what's up Luna, Corwin, Junk and Jim McHugh, keep down, Clam, love the exclamation point, Clam, Colonel, Forbin, what's up Forbin, haven't seen you in a day or two, You Stout, 8th, Sage, hopefully you're doing well, Mod Supreme Models, who keeps my life in order, as always, the Green Goblin, the best Osborne of all, Unibot, Flan56, what's up Flan, Steven, Brian Kaufman, Tristan H. Martin, Jason B. Real Name Town gets a new member, M. Holland. What's up, M? The Fuzzy Not Spectrum Mix. Hoot, Matt V and Matt H. Oh my God, we're Matt applying again. Please don't unsub. I'm sorry. DJ Mackie Hijinks, no freaking flex. Mr. Oculars, what's up, Acu? Mr. Craig Sterry, BG, Zadrex, check him out on Twitch, King of Canada, Twitch and YouTube, Dan Man Falcon, YouTube, Spike Jones, Triple Threat on YouTube, our friend Two Ties, the great Lauren Redez, who we owe extra thanks today. You should check out the Snap on this pod, the Perry King Tucker, and of course Gunny T, where the T stands for. Thank you for watching. I will see you tomorrow for a wonderful video where I will break down the new card and give you some more great decks. So if you're interested in that, make sure you hit that sub. There's a great video there, a great video there. Don't miss it. You can sub by pressing that button in the middle. Peace.